Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Naked Monkey Podcast. I am Rue. With me, as always, Caleb
Hello.
and Christopher.
What's up?
To completely just because I do love simians, and I needed to be known that I understand on our actual logo, he doesn't have a tail and it's not a monkey. I know that. I know that, but it just looks good. So just allow me the creative freedom.
Yeah, the type of person to point that out is the exact same type of person who would be like, well, did you know that Frankenstein is actually the doctor? The thing's name is actually Frankenstein's monster. And I say to them, well, the real monster is somebody who keeps pointing that out.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of did that to my brother because we went to Build-A-Bear, you know that place?
Yeah.
And I was always like, the day they have a monkey, I'll build a bear because that's like my favorite animal. Just all of them. Yeah, I understand. That's vague. Love them all. Apes, monkeys, swung them all. So anyway, we go by and they had them. And I was like, oh shit. So me and my girlfriend, we build a bear. I'm 32. I don't give a fuck building this bear.
Oh yeah, brother.
And I'm also not building a bear. We go through the whole thing. I build him. I got him in my back seat. He's riding. He's my ride or die. He's in my passenger seat. And so I go to pick up my brother and I move him over and he's like, oh, did you get a Curious George? And I was like, nah, man. Curious George doesn't have a tail because he's a great ape. Okay? Do you see my Build-A-Bear? He has a tail because he's not a chimp. And he's like, did you just hipster me on Curious George and Build-A-Bears? And I was like, fuck, I did.
Right.
Yeah, I
You hit him with the actually?
I did. I mansplained to him fucking the difference between chimps and apes when I could have just said, no, it's not Curious George. It just looks like Curious George with a tail for licensing reasons. Probably Build-A-Bear didn't want to deal with that.
Yeah, nah. That's too expensive.
I mean, no. Surely.
It isn't. They sell fucking Pikachu.
Oh, okay, then.
You know what I mean?
How much is Curious George worth?
Yeah.
But I'm glad it's not Curious George, because there's something weird to me about, if I have a stuffed animal, right? Even as a kid, I'm like, I don't want to have an IP. I want to have, my own unique stuffed friend. I don't want it to be, I love Winnie the Pooh, but I don't want it to be Winnie the Pooh. I want it to be you know what I mean? My individual, unique friend.
Right. You don't want just no middle of the mall shit. Well, did you hear about the other Curious Georges they had?
I want to say no.
There was the Louisiana one. It was Curious Jasper. And then there was the one from South America. It was Curious Julio.
What?
Curious Jorge.
Yeah. And then in Asia, it was Curious Genichiro.
Dude, so my girlfriend, we're on opposite spectrums, dude. Monkeys, love them. Gibbons, probably my favorite. Love.
Those long-armed ones?
Yep.
Nice.
Just awesome. And all of them give her the uncanny valley effect. She hates them. They make her so uncomfortable. And I'm just like, I don't get it. That's one of those taste things where it's I show her a picture of a baby tamarin and she's just like, ugh. And I'm like, what the fuck? How do you not love this thing? It's fucking awesome. Gorilla, she hates them. She hates them all. I don't know. I don't think it's something that can be overcome.
That's a weird one to hate.
I think it's the uncanny valley thing. They're just similar enough to people to be creepy, which I get.
No, because I'll never look at people the same way with gorillas. When somebody said that, a gorilla just looks like Ron Perlman and Joe Rogan mixed together.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just different species.
Technically, are you talking about Ron Perlman and Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
So they
Like
clearly.
they're both ape looking motherfuckers.
Yeah,
They're just different type.
I was watching
Yeah.
like Conor McGregor and Khabib fight, and like the commentators like, I don't understand why he isn't getting up, and Joe Rogan's like, because he's pinned to the ground and he's smashing his face in, and
Yeah.
you're like, that's a pretty good reason. It's a pretty good reason not to stand up.
Yeah, it would make it very difficult.
Yeah, I tend to have
What the
difficulty standing up when you are just throwing right hooks at my eye socket over and
Yeah.
over
Okay, now,
while
Well, I
pinning
can't
me
even
to the
see which
ground.
way is up.
that reminds me of this story of there's an MMA fighter who like got caught beating his girlfriend after she got caught with another guy, and
Was
during
it in the
lawsuit,
ring? Was it in the
No.
octagon?
no, it was in the bedroom, the other squared circle.
No shit.
Oh,
So that's all terribly fucked up. And then during the trial, the guy that got caught with her is like being questioned by the lawyer, and he's telling the story about how he jumped on me, he started beating me. I put my hands up, so he put me in a choke, and he got me on my stomach, so he had choking me out. And he was about to kill me. He's like, "Okay, and did you punch back?" And he's like, "No." And they're like, "Well, why didn't you?" Because he was on my back choking me, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Okay, then
Have you
what'd you
all
do?"
ever been? I'm not sure how many of you guys. First off, just before I even bother to express how they have failed to understand how being choked out from behind works, like you chose the wrong fucking person, spouse. Is that just a dumb idea? Like
Yeah.
they would have to be really alluring to be like, you know what? Yeah.
Well, I mean, she was a porn star, from what I remember.
Yeah, I guess but it's just I'm not sure. I just think that's if this goes sideways, it went exactly how you expected, and that's got to be a factor. Like, why didn't you hit back? And you're like, I knew what I was doing.
Right.
I knew what this was. Why would I hit back?
You're just poking the already aggressive
Yeah.
gorilla on your back.
Yeah, if I hit him back, it's just gonna infuriate him more.
choke harder.
Yeah, now he's gonna just now he's gonna just grind his elbow into the back of my C6 vertebra even harder.
Right in the ribs, too. Just a little bit of both, just like,
Yeah. Honestly, what's funny is like I always say like I don't really like sports, which I'm not like against sports. I'm just not a huge sports guy, but like I do like anytime something like MMA or like UFC, or even like boxing is on, I do really kind of like appreciate it. It is enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
It's
It
fun.
is cool to see these people who, like transform their body for this, put it to the
Yeah.
youth.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
like
the talent it takes and the pure dedication is just respectable,
yeah, and maybe it's like that same like primal thing I have where it's like if you introduce too many complexities and variables, it does gamify it quite a bit. There's something just urgent about watching two people with like a minimal set of rules and just like may the best man win. That is enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
Boxing is cool because it has just enough rules to force strategy.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying. It is, especially after watching Korea. I'm like, hey, you know what? I could see watching this. This seems like it could be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just never
Get
cinematic.
in the corner, like you're trying to grapple them to like cause a breakup, get them off your back for a second.
Yep. It's the shit when you watch like UFC fights, the strategic elements of that like kind of come like if you dial it up a bit, that is kind of boxing because it's like, well, shit, I can't do X, Y, and Z, so
Yeah,
I have to try and like strategize this the best I can and use what like if you limit like the amount of things available to you, it forces you to be creative in new ways.
yeah. That's pretty
Constraints
sweet.
create creativity.
It does. I think it can. Like if somebody was like, "Hey, man, I'm going to give you just these two instruments. Do your best." Like sometimes
Mhm.
you try even harder to make something really creative. If somebody gave you a whole orchestra, you might be able to like just impress them with the sheer volume of sound.
Yeah, there's just enough going on that it sounds impressive.
It sounds impressive, even though we're really not doing a whole lot. But if you give
Yeah.
somebody just a banjo and they go fucking hog wild, you're like, holy shit.
But
Right.
man, going back to fighting like stuff, MMA and boxing,
Yeah.
I prefer movies of that to the actual sport because when it's a good movie and there's like actual choreography, it always just looks so much more hard hitting and impactful and all that other stuff than when you see a real fight. These are trained fighters to their best fucking ability. Yet sometimes it can feel sloppy looking because not everybody's perfect all the time. You can't react as fast as if you were acting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's what makes it right. Is like when somebody does mess up and that other person gets to capitalize, that's the fun of it, right?
Yeah. I think it's the fun of both. The scripted choreography is fun because it is so romanticized version of reality, and the opposite is fun because we know that if Bruce Lee were ever to just get into a street fight with someone, what it would probably actually look like.
Yeah.
If it's someone of equal measure, like if somebody's like, hey man, yeah, I'm not going to let you do that, I'm going to try my best to like pin your legs and throw you against the wall and stop your wrist from moving and hopefully you tucker out. That's it's less immediately exciting, but it is still exciting in its own unique way, I guess. They're just different. I love
Right.
watching choreograph. I love Bruce Lee movies and Jackie Chan movies. That shit's fucking awesome. But it is still cool to see somebody have to be like, I can't just throw everything I have at you in the first round.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be fucked.
Honestly, that's why as time goes on, I kind of respect the actual sport of wrestling and like any sort of ground, like judo and all that other stuff. I'm like, oh man, those are always such kind of unique, I feel,
It
martial
is.
arts.
It's very cool. If I had to take a martial art, which I've always had an interest in, I would love to. I'm just, I have too many fucking other things I do. But I would love to
Mm.
do something like jujitsu because I'm rather small framed, and I would try to like lean into something that is more technique focused. If I'm up against somebody of a better weight than me who is also as well trained, I'm gonna lose. But how often am I gonna come up against somebody who happens to also be trained in this?
Fair point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like if I'm going up against either of you two and you're both equally as well trained in the same martial art, you'll probably win. But if it's just a fucking random ass street fight and this guy has never been trained in anything, I definitely have an advantage.
Well,
Definitely.
yeah. I think that's what's cool about taking any martial art is like that instantly puts you at least a little bit of an advantage against most people. You
Absolutely.
know?
And this sounds ridiculous, but that comes from like a state of like, for one, I'd be doing it because it's just an enjoyable hobby. But it is practical, but that is barring the fact that like um if I'm legitimately in danger, I'm probably going to shoot you before it resolves to that, but I would like to
I
have a
was about to
backup
say
plan.
the equalizer is a
Right,
gun.
yeah.
But like, yeah, if I think you're going to harm my girlfriend, I'm not going to be like, let's square up.
Yeah.
Because even if I was extremely confident, like, I mean, shit, you hit me in the temple or chin one wrong way, and now
Over.
you're harming someone I care about. I'm not going to really take that risk.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but that's giving you, I mean, have a gun on you at all times.
I try to,
Well, I'd
just
usually
because
don't.
of that. Like, and I'm not like a huge gun nut, and I do not. I would if I were to ever have to shoot someone, even if they deserved it, I would not feel great about that.
Yeah. I
But
was saying I wouldn't, but I don't carry, unfortunately. That's something I'd like to.
yeah. Dude, have you guys seen I think I brought this up to you
No.
before. Have you guys seen like the Battle of the Nations stuff?
Mm-mm.
So you got to Google this sometime. Anybody listening, Google fucking Battle of the Nations. There's another branch of like the same thing. I can't remember what it's called, but like these dudes just dress up in like full plate armor and use like slightly dulled blades or bludgeoning weapons and just beat the fuck out of each other. And it
Oh,
is,
yeah, I have seen that. I didn't know it was called that.
yeah, it is just wonderful to watch. And there's something like so anachronistic and weird about watching a Texas Ranger in full plate armor with like the American flag just talking in a Texas accent about beating the fuck out of this person with a mace. There's just so much happening in my brain during the course of that I can't help but be entertained.
Right. I love that. That
Like,
is
could you
awesome.
just imagine like playing D&D and like somebody pulls off their mask and they just have a handlebar mustache and a USA flag on their forehead and they're like, "What's up, brother?" And you're like, "What?"
We're gonna beat people to near death with our fucking blunted. See, I'd bring an axe, or not an axe, a hammer, for that purpose.
So if you had to pick a like a medieval weapon of choice, what would it be?
Uh,
Probably a claymore.
Probably like a club or like some blunt weapon.
Claymore or a club? I'm gonna be honest, man. I'd probably pick some
Hammer.
kind of pole arm.
Yeah, I mean, and
I feel
honestly,
that.
that's the real answer. That's the most historically accurate one.
I don't want you to get close to me. And
Yeah.
like, if I only have one weapon, it might kind of suck. Because if you do get close to me, what am I gonna do with my halberd?
Jackie Chan shit. That's what you're gonna do.
But like, yeah, like I'm hoping I can take care of that before you get close enough for me to have to draw like a sidearm. If I don't have a sidearm though, shit. Okay, if you only have one weapon, yeah, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I might still pick a pole arm.
I thought
yeah.
of pole arm first, but I'm just like, nah, I just want a big old sword. Give me that. Let's go.
Okay, yeah. Maybe the next question is, what is the coolest medieval weapon, even if it's impractical?
Same answer.
Yeah, fair enough. He's found the middle ground. He knows what he wants.
There's that one saber that had a gun in it. I think that one was pretty fucking cool.
That's some Final
Yeah.
Fantasy VIII shit.
Yeah,
It's a gun blade.
it was dope. It was so stupid.
I feel like maybe like probably the coolest weapon that is not practical would be like a warhammer.
Mm-hmm.
Those
See, but,
were predominantly used on like horseback,
Yeah.
so that just the sheer force of you riding next to somebody with it
Right.
would be awful.
Stepping.
But like if you're on the ground, it immediately becomes so fucking impractical.
Right. You're swinging this big heavy thing
Yeah.
so slowly.
Right. Like imagine trying to hit, but like if the other dude's wearing armor too, and you just have a big sledgehammer, how hard would that be to actually hit him? Like he's not dodging out of the way. Even if he's got a shield, you just fucking hit him in the shield arm.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, it would be probably like, I think swinging it is the issue because like on horseback, I'm just riding into you, and the fact that I'm moving this fast sucks ass. But like if I gotta like swing it at you, that's gonna be the easiest thing to dodge.
Yeah.
Like you just
that
be
is
like,
true.
Yeah. You see it coming a mile away.
Right. It's like one of those like heavy ass right hooks, like a wide swing. You're like, if that hits me, it's going to be devastating. But I can just step backwards slowly.
Pretty much.
Which I guess, like a lot of stuff like that, it's hard to imagine, but like, same with like a lot of guns even nowadays, like for a modern parallel, like there's certain guns that you're like, that thing's awesome. Why wouldn't you use that all the time? And then people are like, well, I mean, because 9mm proves to be more deadly. Like, if I can shoot this many rounds of something smaller at you with better accuracy, it's more deadly than you having a fucking 44 Magnum.
But one's cooler.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Absolutely one's cooler. But like, yeah, like your chance of if you hit me with that one of 6 to 8, bullets, that's going to suck ass. But the recoil, the limited ammunition, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so many factors that go into, like, you know, the military's not fucking stupid. If there's one thing they're good at, it is killing people.
And they do it well.
And so generally I'll take their advice on what they're wielding. So,
See,
like,
but it's
same
easy
with
to build
medieval
up.
back in the day. If you're going, that's why I picked polearm. I'm like, these guys probably knew what they were doing.
Range is the most effective thing in a fight.
What do you
That's why
think
the
about,
bow and arrow
like,
is so good.
how do you guys feel about, like, fighting fair? Like, in different contexts?
In a sporting setting, you should always fight fair. In a real fight where you're in danger, nah, there's no fighting fair.
No,
Yeah.
that's so. There's a show me and Sam been watching called Outlast. It's this new show on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a survival thing, and it has all these people that are like, they're kind of lone wolf survivor type people. They don't play with a team or whatever, but they, I think it's like 16 of them start out, and they have to go into groups of 4. And then they get, so many survival tools and whatnot. And, well, they start off friendly enough, but after a while, man, they get vicious. Like, they're getting fucked up. They, had one dude swim over. Well, he actually took his raft over the river to the other people's camp while they were out. There was only 2 of them left. One of their teammates just got medically tapped. One, after dude got medically tapped, he was like, fuck y'all, I'm going to this other team that they got crab traps. I'm going to go eat well with them. And so this dude, he comes over on a raft, steals their sleeping bags while they're out, right? And then he's like literally hiding in the woods. They're actually passing over him while he's hiding. They're like, they find his raft. They're like, you got the count of 10 to give us our sleeping bags, or we're popping them. He doesn't come out. They pop him. He takes he literally swims over with the trash bag or the sleeping bags to get them from these people. And so they have to sleep in the coldest night, like 22 degrees, with no sleeping bags, just a fire.
Damn. That is actually very relevant to the fair versus just can I survive?
Yeah, no, and it's getting that way where they're just like, look, we got money on the line. We're going to do what we have to win,
Yeah,
right.
you can trap. This won't kill you. You can leave at any time. This is for a TV show.
Yeah.
But even if it couldn't, man, I think that's like what makes, and spoiler alert, but you guys have caught up on Last of Us, right? You guys are fully through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just
alert.
let us, yeah, exactly. Spoiler alert on The Last of Us. But I think, and I'm not going to go like super hard into details, but I think that's what makes that story so poignant is it plays off of like that idea of like, there is this sort of like ripple effect of like, if there's nothing wrong, I will try my best to be fair and equitable to most people. But but if the farther you dial it in and I start have to make choices between the people I care about and the people that are just no one to me, I think we would be amazed at the sort of monstrous shit we would do protect the people we have a connection to versus the people we don't, even if I would feel bad about it. Like, even if later I would be like, damn, I can't believe all those people are sleeping cold and miserable. I'm not going to let the people I care about sleep cold and miserable if I can help it.
Yeah, I think especially in that world, too, where just violence is much more commonplace. It's like, I'm going to threaten to kill you until you prove I shouldn't. Like,
And there is like a dial down. Like, if we can come to a reasonable agreement where everyone wins, even if I win a little less, if everybody can have a bit, I will be open to compromise. Like, I'd rather sleep a little colder knowing that everybody's a little less cold. But if it's just my people are going to freeze to death or your people are going to freeze to death and we can't come to a compromise, like, what are you supposed to do?
Right. Well, that's what's crazy about this whole thing, the show too, is like that. I think that was about 15 days in, maybe 17. It's like just after 2 weeks, and they are starting to go like savage on each other.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I don't know. Like, I've watched a few documentaries on like I have an affinity for like New Guinea tribes people. They're just fascinating.
Fair enough.
But so I'm basically an expert. I'm basically an anthropologist. I'm just kidding. No, but like it is interesting to see like I think a lot of people fall in the same category. Like we're inclined to peace and compromise. But if it comes down to it, like if you're gonna make me choose between myself and you, and you're not willing to compromise, like you've made
That's
this choice.
survival.
You've made the choice yourself.
Yeah.
You're forcing me to do this because I'm not just gonna be like, you're right. I should let my kids starve so your kids can live. That makes sense.
Not if I can kill both of your kids and you and just eat you.
Right, like it sounds terrible, and I don't want that. Like, I don't think I would feel good about it, you know. And there are people out there that might not feel anything, but like I would feel bad about it. But it's like I wanted everyone to eat a little, but you're not willing to have that.
Yeah. It's funny they even bring up like they try and guilt people into it. Like the dude who left their team after the one dude got medically tapped. They came over and was like, "Man, how would your kids feel about you doing this?" And he was like, "Well, when I win, I bet they'll feel pretty damn good." You know?
Yeah, basically.
You can really try and have that moral. Another guy, after they saw the dudes steal the sleeping bags, he actually left because he's like, I can't be here if people are doing this kind of shit already. It's gonna get nasty, and I ain't supporting that, you know. So to see everyone's moral ground and how far some will go and some won't, it's pretty interesting. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't want it to have to come to that. But if it does have to, there's a weird sense of like where I feel like I might be surprisingly one of the first ones to, because I've known that when everything was fine. If shit hits the fan, I'm gonna be like, "You're all fucking animals. Fuck you!"
At
like
the start of this very episode, you were talking about just remember, no matter where they are, if you think about a person, they have fears, they have dreams. You know, you're all about. I think of somebody else as your fellow man, and now you're like, you know, given the right push, I'm so capable of so much murder.
But that's the thing is that
it is.
It is. I don't know how to articulate it, but it is both. Like I respect and appreciate and understand the beauty behind all of the things, and I do. That is my ideal state. But I would be lying to you if I said that I would be willing to compromise the safety of the people I care about on the off chance that you're willing to meet me in the middle.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
And compromise with those feelings of fear and whatnot, but if you're coming to steal my food and make sure I don't eat, well, sorry, but it's me over you.
Yeah, and sometimes it's even less me. Not like to sound like super altruistic, but like it really does. Like, you ever have somebody like insult you and you're like, haha, but then they insult somebody you really care about and you're super like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of like where that kicks in for me, is like a lot of times if it comes down to like, okay, well, I'm the only one at stake here, I'm a little bit more willing to do that than it is like, I'm going to hurt everybody you care about. Now it starts to be like the pressure of that decision is a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good way to put it, though. Like that, how much more outraged do you get when somebody makes fun of somebody close to you as opposed to making fun of you?
Right. Like if somebody's like, yeah, they just start laying into me, I'm like, whatever, man. But like, it doesn't actually, it takes very little if somebody like insults You know, like if somebody starts going after your spouse or your significant other, it's a lot harder to maintain like self-control.
Yeah.
For some reason,
Mhm.
you're just like, I just want to fucking deck you.
Right.
Whereas if you said that to me, I'd be like, okay, cool, whatever. Nothing I ain't thought before.
It's the
Right.
whole like brotherhood mentality of like, hey, I can make fun of this guy, but don't you dare.
Yeah, it bothers me a
Only I
lot
can
when
beat him
people.
up.
I'm the only one who can harm my son.
Right.
How dare you strike him? That's my job.
I shall strike you in his face.
Dude, just speaking of like terrible jokes. When I worked at Amazon, there was he may or may not be listening. I would never presume to know that he is. But did you ever work with Kyle?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure if you did, but so like I come into work and I'm talking to Kyle and I'm telling him about it. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I just had to put my second dog down in like a matter of like a fucking 180 days. And he's like, dude, that's awful. I'm really sorry to hear that. But since I'm me, I immediately just say like, yeah, dude. And I don't even have kids, so like, who am I supposed to hit now? And
Oh
his jaw
my.
just dropped. He was just like, what the? He had no idea how to respond to that.
See, my first thought was you're gonna make a joke of like, and I think the pet adoption place is starting to get suspicious about it.
Nah, that's pretty good. And Evan, you guys know Evan, right?
Yeah.
He when I told him I had to do that, he just like stared at me like with this like expectant face, and I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I was waiting for you to say like I'm joking." I'm like, "Oh, that's fair." Considering the fucking horrible jokes I make all the time, like, but no, they're dead. They're dead.
Yeah.
It happens to the best of us.
It really does.
I'm sorry to hear about your dogs, though. That sucks.
Yeah, that's a shame.
No, I appreciate that. It's been a long ass time. So I've got a cat. I've moved on. I'm just kidding.